Girl, I'm going to a 10 o'clock show tonight.
Why?
I don't know.
You? Why?
It's my friend, and I made these plans on Saturday.
You know what? You had me at it's your friend. Be a good supportive friend.
You're welcome, Matt Doyle.
But you, of all people, wow.
I'm going to be. If it weren't him, I would just sleep at the table.
Yeah. You especially.
Hi, Jillian Benzavalli.
Hi, Patrick Hines.
Hey, fam, join us over on the Patreon. A million reasons to do so. So, for example, we do Drag Bingo once a month. We've got over 450 full ad-free episodes for you to download and binge. We're starting to do even more of the interviews with people. Like we did the interview with Sarah Turney after we covered Sarah's documentary about her sister Alyssa. Kathy from Into the Fire, Sky Borgman, who did the Lacey Peterson doc.
Yeah.
So many things. But the other thing in the month of December, this is at the Hero Bell tier is when we send out the calendars.
Okay, so we've been doing the calendar for like a few years now.
I think this is the third one.
And every month is like, I don't know, we work hard on it. We have an amazing artist that we know named Squigs, and he does it all. And so like we work really hard on it, like brainstorming, figuring out what we should do. And we love it so much. And so you're getting
they're
it.
like every month is a cartoon version of something from the TCO universe. And it's just like really fun. It's really arty. So if you're already on the Patreon, if you want to upgrade to the Hero Bell tier, you're going to get it. If you join now, anytime in the month of December at the Hero Bell tier, we're going to send it to you.
Yeah.
So, we always get asked to how to get the calendar. If you're not already there, that's how you do it.
Right. Is this a while supplies last situation?
It's a while supplies last. We always order enough. We have run out in years past.
We order enough for the amount of $20 people that we have already.
Yes.
And then we over order. So that's the, like, if you're joining like late in the month, that's the while supplies last thing. But if you're already at the 20, don't
you're
fret.
getting it. Oh my God, you're getting it.
You're getting it.
Girl, tell the people what we're talking about today.
This is so highly requested. When this came out, my DMs blew up. So this is a 2020 special. It's called The Girl Who Looks Like Me. It's about a woman named Tamika Huston. It's season 47, episode 2.
She had this captivating smile and these beautiful eyes. And I prayed that they would find her alive.
There was no way she would just up and leave.
When I got the phone call, I just lost it.
Where was Tamika? What happened to her?
In this country, we have 40% of missing persons cases are persons of color. Why is it when you turn on your television, you only see white faces? It was just a horrific scene.
We started just building flowcharts of family and friends.
Her car was found abandoned.
You find keys in this car that don't seem to belong to her.
That was just the beginning.
Oh my God.
Well, her blood is all over your floor.
How you know her blood? It could be in my blood.
No, it can't be anybody's blood. How long do you think we've been doing this?
A local woman who says she sometimes has visions.
I could see blood on the body on the left side of the closet.
There's no way she could have known that.
I get goosebumps.
Friday night.
You gave a lot of your life to this story.
That's what it needed.
What really happened to Tamika Huston?
You said this case touched you like no other had. Why?
Because I know how much black girls don't matter.
I watched this like 3 times. This is a really good episode.
It's a really amazing. There's like many stories being told at once. We're covering a lot of issues here, which,
And they do it really well. It's Deborah Roberts reporting. I also just love her.
She's amazing.
She's so good. So it's June 16th, 2004. We're at a house, and we're told that when the police entered the house that day, so they've been called to the house for some reason. When the police entered the house that day, they encountered a disturbing sight. There was a dog that had delivered a brand new litter of puppies, but there was no human owner in sight.
Yeah, so Tamika's dog, Macy, had given birth to puppies. Only one survived, and these poor dogs, like, they drank all of the water out of their bowls, all the water out of the toilets.
What we're saying is this horrible tragedy with the dogs happened, but also, like, where's Tamika? Because she's not been home for a very long time.
Yeah, they say the dog, Macy, was on the verge of starvation. We don't hear about the dogs again, but I am assuming that they went to loving, beautiful
homes. Oh my God, of course. So we meet Tamika's Aunt Rebecca, and she's the one who gets the alarm bell sounded, right? Because she says no one had seen Tamika in a while. She says,
I panic at that point because it's one thing for her to ignore a casual message, but not a message like, Tamika, I need you to call me right now. So I picked up the phone and called the Spartanburg Public Safety Department to report her missing.
Tamika's not responding to that message from Aunt Becca. So like shit is going down.
Yeah. And Tamika's ex-boyfriend is here too, Terrence. It's spelled Terrence, but it's pronounced Terrence. He is telling us too that like she was just an amazing person, Tamika. Like she was super talented. She was a singer. She auditioned for American Idol.
Oh my God. Like I don't know if the American Idol is still a thing, but she was auditioning for American Idol. She was one of 10,000 people in her like area to do it, and she still made it through the first round.
Yeah. I saw some memes, speaking of American Idol, that was like, American Idol was kind of amazing because they set out to find the best singer in America, and they got it on the first try with Kelly Clarkson.
They kind of never failed.
They nailed it with the first time. They were like, let's give this a whirl.
I know.
And now we have Kelly Clarkson.
And our friend Jessica Carini. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Think of the people who came out of Carrie Underwood, Adam Lambert, like Ruben Studdard, like all these amazing people. I know. Clay Aiken.
William Hung.
William.
That was American Idol, right?
That was 100% American Idol.
But Antonia is here too, and Tamika's sister. And I love when family members are super real. And she was like, we loved each other. We fought like sisters, but we loved each other like sisters.
Yes. But we do learn that this family is close. Like they're in the South on the East Coast, but they've got family all up and down, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Miami. And like they're just saying that Tamika would sometimes just get in the car and show up at anybody's house in any of those states.
Yeah. Tamika's amazing. She was a singer. We talk about Sister Act 2 for a second with Lauryn Hill. Tamika loved people, loved animals. And then Erica Alexander appears. She's the host and creator of Finding Tamika. And immediately I'm like, oh my God, yes, she's the cop from Get Out. But most importantly, she was on Living Single, which was before my time, but still an incredibly important show.
Yeah, she's amazing. I recognized her too, but I just love that she's like this like very successful actress who decides she's going to make a podcast because somebody told her about this story and she was sort of like, no one else was going to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Right, so she's like an actress, but she's also an activist and a documentarian.
In 2020, in the midst of protest over racial injustices in this country, she was approached about creating a podcast about Tamika Huston's disappearance.
And at the time I thought, actually, probably no, because I knew then that very few people would want to make something about a black girl. But then, of course, I said yes, thinking, well, if not you, Erica, who?
No one really talks about the missing black women, so I'll do it.
And I gotta say, as a person who listens to a lot of podcasts, I remember when this podcast came out and I'm hearing pieces of it now, I'm like, Erica, did you write your own copy? Because the copy is so beautifully written.
Yeah.
Like it is so well done. It looks like she's like making this, like she's a one-person powerhouse of a podcast producer.
I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case because Erica completely dives into this. She's working with Tamika's friends and family.
She's on the ground. Like she's not like a fancy LA actress who's like putting in the money and letting somebody else do the work. She goes to Spartanburg and she's like investigating. She's riding along with the cops.
Yeah, she's in 1,000%. She's on the ground in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And so June 16th, 2004, 2 days after Tamika was reported missing, her Aunt Rebecca goes to South Carolina. And she's the one who's on top of the police. She's like, no, we're not going to forget about this.
No, Aunt Rebecca got in the car when Tamika was not returning her calls and was like, I'm getting there to like, something's got to be done. And Rebecca tells us earlier, she was Tamika's aunt, but she was only 7 years older than her. We've seen this in other cases where, so like they were kind of raised more like sisters.
Yeah.
They were very, very close.
And Rebecca has experience in media and PR, and she's going to use that. Rebecca is also half Ethiopian and half white, but she looks like she's white. She's very white passing, and that cannot be ignored in this.
No.
Because we will dive into the fact that she's like using her whiteness for good here to try to get someone to give a shit about Tamika, because the timeline is interesting.
Travel down the road and back again.
Girl, Z-Biotics is back with their pre-alcohol. I gotta tell you, we've been drinking this stuff like crazy. Tis the season to Christmas party. We're going to one tonight. I got the pre-alcohol in my bag.
Yeah, I made sure we ordered it in November so that we were good for the holiday season.
Look, we all know that we've all tried to find ways to feel good after a night of drinking. Listen, this pre-alcohol is a thing that actually works. I gotta tell you, like, no more bad mornings. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so their probiotic was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking.
Here's how it works, fam. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that is to blame for your rough next day.
So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down.
Right. So, fam, this is a proactive solution that wards off feeling miserable the next day instead of a reactive approach like drinking electrolytes or eating greasy food, which I might do anyway.
Yeah, so all you do is, like, you take the Z-Biotics pre-alcohol.
Yeah, which Steven insists on. We've got it, like, stocked in our bar.
Yeah, and then you do the regular responsible things, like you still drink your water in between drinks. drinks, you still eat.
Yes.
And then the next day, you can still go about your day and your whole next day isn't canceled.
I'm telling you, you're going to see a world of difference, fam. So go to zbiotics.com/TCO to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use TCO at checkout.
ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked.
Remember to head to zbiotics.com/TCO and use code TCO at checkout for 15% off.
Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this episode and our good times. And some good mornings.
And some really
Better
good mornings. Absolutely. One more quick thing. It tastes really good. It's like a little tiny thing. You throw it back real fast. Tastes good.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Done and done. Bye.
Bye.
So the family is on the news. Flyers are being put up all around town. Now, here's what's going on at the time of Tamika's disappearance.
The reason why it took a moment for it to be discovered that she was missing, because she was at a crossroads. She wasn't working. She told her mom that she wanted to return to school.
She had broken up with her boyfriend.
She had broken up with her boyfriend. So it was just kind of like a perfect storm of events.
That means she wasn't really in daily contact with anybody because she's just sort of like floating through life at the moment. So like she's close with her aunt, she's close with her mom, she's close with her best friend, but she's not talking to anybody necessarily every single day. So the fact that like a bunch of people haven't heard from her in a couple of days didn't raise alarm bells.
Right. And if she was leaving anywhere to go on any trip to like visit family members, which she would do all the time, just be like knock on the door like,
yes.
Hey, I just drove 40 hours to say hi. She would do that.
Literally would drive from South Carolina to Miami to have dinner with Aunt Becca.
But here's what she would do. She would call someone else and say, that's what I'm doing.
Yes.
And she never, ever in a million years would leave Macy by herself, pregnant in the house, right?
No. So Terrence is here. And as we said, he was Tamika's last boyfriend. Can we talk about him for a second?
Yeah.
This is very complicated because he is here acting very sane.
He's lovely here. But in this interview.
He's lovely. He's caring. He's crying. He's saying all the right things. In everything that we learn about him from the time of Tamika's disappearance, he is acting unhinged.
Not great. Yeah.
He's acting as though he's having a mental health crisis. We also learned that there was like domestic violence between them. Now, they don't get specific. They don't say who hit who, but they say that there was like domestic violence going on between the two of them.
And Terrence admits that their relationship was, quote, violent.
Yes. And like when we see him in his police interviews, he's just giving off really fucking weird vibes.
Yeah.
But we see him here and he seems lovely.
Yeah.
So I'm just conflicted about this guy.
Yeah. And we'll get into how he's acting when we get there because it is like there's a lot of context there.
Well, he tells their love story that like his family owned a corner store like in town. And one day Tamika was there just like getting her stuff. He goes out to get on his motorcycle.
As I was getting on my motorcycle, I heard a voice say, "Do you have an extra helmet?" So I said, "No, you can wear mine." And it was like love at first sight. It was like a trust love, not just an attraction, something deeper than that.
Take mine, get on.
What?
I know.
Oh my God.
Like, I know this is a dumb thing to say, but it can't be understated. Tamika was so beautiful. Yeah. Like just such a physically attractive woman.
Right.
That like she walks up to this guy on a motorcycle who's like, "You take my helmet,
with like
let's
a
go."
perfect line. You got an extra helmet? Like what?
Totally.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I know.
So, but everything is like, it's more than just love. It was something deeper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, then why did you break up? Because all I'm hearing is how great everything is.
Yeah. And it's actually Terrence who's the one who gets in touch with Tamika's family to like alert them that like no one's heard from Tamika in a while.
Right, because they'd been in touch, but she wasn't answering his calls anymore. So he leaves a very sweet and polite message to Aunt Rebecca.
Yes.
He's like, I can't get in touch with Tamika. I just want to know she's safe. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Aunt Rebecca's like, okay, well, first of all, you just broke up, so it's not that crazy that she wouldn't be answering your calls.
She's probably just ignoring you, dummy.
But she'll probably answer when I call.
Right.
But Tamika didn't answer when Rebecca called.
And that's what I was saying at the top of the episode was that, like, that's why she gets in her car and drives to South Carolina. Because she's like, it would be one thing to, like, if it was like, hey, give me a call, girl. But this was like, Tamika, where are you? And she's not responding to that.
And we see, but of course, all eyes are on Terrence, right?
Of course.
Right?
I mean, of course.
So we see Aunt Rebecca talking to the cops about him.
Yeah.
And Tamika had told her Aunt Rebecca that Terrence was acting very strange. Like the last time she saw him, he was pacing.
The behavior, like quoting scripture.
Excessively quoting scripture.
Like pacing the floor, saying that like his actions were being directed by God. Like once again, and we're going to see some video footage of him later. Yeah. Like he seems like in that time, he's having some kind of mental health crisis.
Yeah, because we learn now that like it wasn't all puppies and rainbows.
No.
They had a very tumultuous relationship. They'd had domestic violence issues in the past. And like you said, we don't know the specifics of that.
And one thing that I didn't really fully understand until the very end of of this episode, these interviews that we're seeing now are 20 years later.
They are.
So like Terrence is like, he seems like whatever he was going through back then, he's come through it, and he seems like a very good dude now. But like, I mean, for all of these people, Aunt Becca, all of the best friends, this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And speaking of that, this is all happening around the same time as Lacey Peterson.
Right.
So Scott Peterson is all over the news.
He's a suspect in the murder of his wife, Lacey.
Scott Peterson attended this New Year's Eve vigil for Lacey in Modesto, California.
All the way across the country in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Tamika's family is holding a vigil too. And all eyes are on her concerned ex-boyfriend, Terrence.
This is like the same week that Lacey Peterson went missing.
And like Terrence goes to Tamika's vigil.
Exactly.
And now like Scott was being shady at Lacey's vigil. So like people are thinking, is this a Scott Peterson thing all over again?
And it feels a little bit like Terrence is leaning into it. I don't know.
And so this is where we get the first, because like the fact that the whole vibe of Terrence was different then than it is now in this interview, like, this is the big reveal here.
Yes.
Because he's like, we hear that lovely, very polite message to Aunt Rebecca. And then we see the footage of Terrence being interviewed 2 days after Tamika is reported missing. And it's a very different Terrence than who we're speaking to today. Because he's like, you know what? Everyone sees me as Scott Peterson. I'm here to help. If I wanted to run, I would run. This is where he admits to the police when he's being questioned that their relationship was violent.
And that actually means something to the cops. The fact that the cops are saying he brought that to us sort of takes suspicion off of him a little bit.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Because at least he's being honest. He's doing all the things that we kind of wish Scott Peterson had done, which was like talking to the cameras at the vigil.
Right. The difference is that Terrence didn't actually kill Tamika.
Well, exactly. and honestly, like back in the day, I would have been very suspicious of Terrence. He's got a chip on his shoulder in his interview with the cops. He's acting very strangely.
Right. So June 2004, Tamika has been missing for 1 week. She's been reported missing for a week.
Yeah.
A week later, Tamika's car is found at an apartment complex across town. It's the Barksdale Apartments.
Yeah. The cops say that they could tell that the car had been there for a while, and there's no forensic evidence that they can collect. There's no blood, there's no DNA that they can see.
But so at first it's kind of a nothing burger, except they find a bunch of keys.
It was a set, I believe, 5 or 6 keys. You can tell one's a house key, 2 of them is a vehicle key, and maybe 2 more as locks.
They didn't fit her house. They didn't fit her car. We didn't really know what these keys were for or where they had come from.
What are all these keys for and where'd they come from?
And they seem to say that they are pretty certain these keys don't belong to Tamika. So it's kind of like, do these keys belong to the killer?
Right. And what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then, so it's like, okay, I guess we'll hold on the keys for now because that's kind of nothing.
Yeah.
And then we get this 911 call. Someone calls 911 and says, hi, my brother just came into my house and told me that he killed his girlfriend and put her body in Cleveland Park Lake. Oh, and P.S., my brother lives at Barksdale Apartments.
And this happened the exact same time that Tamika went missing.
Right. So Tamika's car is found at Barksdale Apartments.
Yeah.
We have this 911 call saying that my brother just said he killed his girlfriend and put her body in Cleveland Lake, which is like around the corner from the apartments.
Yeah.
Like, is this connected?
It's also like this Cleveland Lake is one of those man-made lake. Like it's a very small lake.
Yeah.
It's not like a big thing.
It's like a pond almost.
Right, truly.
Right.
And it doesn't seem very deep. They send in divers and cadaver dogs. They find nothing. And the cops eventually determine that this 911 call was not connected to Tamika's case. But it is a very strange coincidence.
Like, we're going to solve that too, right?
Right, exactly.
Did the brother really kill his girlfriend and like what? Can we look into that?
One of those episodes where we learn that like prank calls like this happen all the fucking time.
I mean, how many times have we been screaming about this on the show? Like, what do you get out of pranking and throwing or giving the family hope or destroying? What do you?
You know, because it could even be that the caller wasn't a prank. Like maybe the brother really did say that, but the brother's making it up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can we make sure
can we
that
get some eyes on the brother?
Girlfriend is okay?
I
like,
know.
Where did she go? Can we solve that one too?
I couldn't agree more.
Probably not.
We got to throw it on the stack, GP.
You know what? We have to talk about Elaine Painter because Elaine is here.
My husband was leaving for work. He brought the newspaper in and laid it on the kitchen table. He said, this beautiful girl's missing. She's a young girl. We need to pray for her. And I moved the paper over and I just put my hand on her face and I prayed that they would find her alive. Come back to me. I just pray a lot. I'm not a psychic. I don't read cards.
She's not.
She just prays a lot.
She prays a lot, talks to God. Now, she like, because what we are hearing
I'm
is
not
that
laughing at people who pray a lot and talk to God.
No.
That's
please.
not what I'm saying.
You're looking at one. I pray literally every single day.
Wonderful.
And I literally talk to God. Have I ever told you that when I was a little
God,
kid?
girl, can you catch a fucking break?
I used to.
God, sometimes you just don't come through, to quote Tori Amos.
Look, God's got a lot going on right now.
I know. Who the fuck am I?
When I was a kid, I used to sign off on my prayers. I would pray to God. I would pray at night, and then I would say, "Thank you so much." Signed Patrick Joseph Hines, and then I would give my address.
That's adorable.
In case God didn't know.
Just in case she didn't know.
Just in case she didn't know. You know what I mean?
She's not Santa. Santa needs the address.
Well, it was particular around Christmas. I would always give my address around Christmas, just in case God needed it.
Or those two are in cahoots.
Which they must be.
They have to be.
You know what I mean? Did I tell you we got an elf on the shelf?
Oh God.
I know. Steve was very against it, but Daisy really.
You're for it?
I don't care.
Well, you're not doing it anyway. Steve's going to do the whole thing.
No, the elf moves itself. That's how it works.
Oh, right.
You didn't know?
Right. Yeah, no,
the elf moves itself.
So you have a new roommate. How's that going?
Her name is Sophie. It's the little boy elf on the shelf, but Daisy decided it's a girl with a short haircut.
Of course.
Her name is Sophie. Daisy is utterly amazed. Every morning she wakes up, she cannot believe that Sophie moved again.
Where has Sophie been?
Really everywhere. Well, Sophie causes a lot of mischief.
Well, that's kind of their whole gig, right?
Yeah. One morning she was in our wine decanter. We made sure she could breathe, but she was in the wine decanter. This morning she was on our light fixture.
Okay.
Yeah. She's all over the place.
And then what happens? So Daisy wakes up. Oh my God, Sophie, you're in the light fixture. And then what happens?
That's really it.
They wave to each other and move on. They're busy.
Well, actually, one day Steve did wake up. Daisy woke up before us, and Steve caught Daisy whispering to the elf.
You know what?
What, Daddy? What? Pretending she wasn't, but she had been.
You're going to come home.
I know. I know.
And your house is going to be turned upside down.
The elf did it.
And Daisy and the elf are going to be pointing at each other. I know. She did it. And I don't know anything about anything.
I didn't see a thing.
I didn't see a thing.
Oh my God.
Sophie?
Golden's going to be trying to tell us.
Golden's going to eat Sophie soon enough. You better keep Sophie high up.
I know. Believe Sophie's very far off the
Sophie better get herself to high places.
Exactly.
Travel down the road and back again.
Girl, Ancient Nutrition is a sponsor this month. Look, none of us are aging in reverse biologically, but the Ancient Nutrition is all about helping you, making you look and feel your best.
Yeah, it's this collagen supplement that they have. And it's all about your hair, your nails, your skin.
Yes.
It's trying to, it's helping you look and feel younger and more importantly, more healthy.
Yeah. Ancient Nutrition's multi-collagen advanced lean supplement, get this, contains 10 types of collagen from 10 real food-based sources.
And this formula is powered by clinically studied ingredients that promotes fat loss and healthy weight management, as well as building lean muscle.
I'm so excited to I'm going to incorporate this into my daily routine. And I've been doing the thing where I've been trying to get fit and feeling better. 2025 better watch out.
And it's so easy because you could just put it into your morning coffee or your favorite smoothie.
Yes.
You can have it in something that you're already having anyway.
Exactly. Making it so easy.
So easy. And collagen can also reduce joint discomfort and improve the look and growth of your skin, hair, and nails. So that's a bonus too.
I could use all the help I could get in the hair department, so I'm going for it.
And if you make a sound when you stand up.
Yeah. To the old man noise.
That's the joint. You need some joint help.
Oh, you mean from your body, not from your mouth?
Yeah, no, but if you're if moving makes you audibly react, maybe you should take a look at your joints.
Totally. Great advice from Dr. Jillian. Right now, Ancient Nutrition is offering 25% off your first order when you go to ancientnutrition.com/TCO.
That's ancientnutrition.com/TCO for 25% off your first order.
ancientnutrition.com/TCO. Go have better hair than me.
Yeah, and be quiet when you get up.
Be quiet when you get up.
Little note.
Shh. Quiet. All right, so anyway, what are we going to say about this Elaine lady?
So Elaine had a vision. Yeah. She sees someone running through the woods or the bushes, and she knows that it's connected to Tamika, because Tamika is on the news. She's not getting enough coverage, but if you live in this town, you know about Tamika. And she saw this vision. So Elaine calls police, and they take her very seriously right away.
They take her very seriously. They take her on a ride-along.
Because she apparently has information about other cases as well, and we don't hear anything about that. No. Which is okay. This is Tamika's story.
No.
Tamika needs...
And I want to say, the cops say, look, we give credit to every call. What else are we doing? Let us give this one a shot.
The cops are she's a delight. She's a fantastic woman.
I
Do I hear shade towards Elaine?
No.
Like, they love Elaine.
Elaine does seem like a hoot and a half
She's
in
a
the car.
pleasure to have in the ride along.
Totally. Right. She reminds them all of their moms. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it really comes down to.
So they're driving around with Elaine and they're asking her questions and they're like, do you think Tamika is in the lake? Because we got that call about the lake.
Yeah.
And she's like, nope, you will not find Tamika in a body of water. I'm positive.
Put a pin in that, fam. And she says she wasn't shot, but there was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to Elaine.
And nothing really happens after this first ride along, but they do another one with Elaine a few months later because Elaine has a very specific vision. And now, remember how she said you definitely won't find Tamika in water? Her second vision, and this is a few months later, so I guess I'm not making a joke, but I guess she'd been praying on it or, whatever.
And months later, she goes on another ride along with them after she says she has a new and very specific vision.
I could see blood, her crumbled body on the left side of the closet.
And there is a lot of blood, and so we will get to that later.
Yeah. So we're back with Aunt Rebecca. Now, this is where we're reminded she's a PR executive, but now we learn that her husband is an NFL football player.
Yeah, so she's married to Desmond Howard, who, according to the internet, is like a super duper famous professional football player. He's super talented, has a ton of accolades. You go to his Wikipedia, his list of awards is like a mile long.
And football's the one with the field goals.
It is. Okay. So it's what Taylor's boyfriend does.
Oh, got it.
So,
I can't believe that guy has to work.
I know.
That's wild.
So Desmond now does commentary for ESPN for college football, but he's like a very famous guy. So you'd think between Rebecca's media training and the fact that her husband is famous, that Tamika's story would be everywhere, right?
Right. And they're really highlighting that the fact that Tamika was a black woman, like media outlets were not interested. There was nothing they could do.
And even Rebecca being very white passing isn't helping. So Tamika was getting local coverage, but all the white women were getting national attention.
So this is where Aunt Rebecca, who's very persistent, takes a chance and goes to America's Most Wanted.
And now we meet Tiffany D. Cross, who's awesome. She's a journalist and she's working at America's Most Wanted at the time.
And she says that she was really drawn to Tamika's story, quote, because Tamika looked like her.
Right.
Now, this is why elevating not white people to important jobs in all sectors is so fucking important.
Yeah.
Because this was personal to Tiffany. She saw Tamika. When she says Tamika looked like me, she doesn't mean she looks just like me. She means she's another black woman. And, I don't know how many black producers there are in America's Most Wanted, but I'm guessing not as many as white producers.
And Erica Alexander would agree, I'm sure, because then she made the podcast about it. So it's like they're all sort of seeing each other in this story.
And because Tiffany pushed it through at America's Most Wanted, she's like, there's no way that we are not going to do this story.
So it's October 2004, and Tiffany, the journalist, goes to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and she starts working on the story.
Literally, everybody's there. She's there. Erica's there. Like, everyone is going to Spartanburg to, get to the bottom of what happened.
And now, Terrance is, of course, still a person of interest. He's the ex-boyfriend. They had a tumultuous relationship. There's documented violence, but he's also being, overdramatic and unhinged.
So this is one of the things I didn't understand. Tiffany sends her crew from America's Most Wanted with hidden cameras to go talk to him. That I didn't like. It's like, just ask him if he wants to talk on camera, and if he doesn't, then he doesn't. But we see the producer talking to Terrance in Terrance's front yard, and he doesn't know he's being filmed because we're seeing the camera from within the car or whatever. But Terrance is yelling at the producer. Then he's on his knees with his arms out like he's praying. Terrance is unhinged.
And so, but again, it's a lot of theater. And again, not the Terrance we're speaking to today.
Correct.
A lot has changed in 20 years.
Yeah.
But we also get a drop in from Terrance today, and he tells Deborah, our host, that Tamika was very, very spiritual, but she knew she wasn't going to live past 25 years old.
We talked about her not being here at 25.
You talked about her not being alive?
Yes.
What do you mean?
She knew that something tragic was going to happen to her.
You're saying she didn't think she was going to live
No,
long?
she knew. I didn't say think. She knew she wasn't going to live to be 25. Knew.
She wouldn't make it to 25. She knew it. We had that conversation many times.
And you know what? It wasn't just Terrance. It was also Tamika's best friend is here to corroborate that.
Yes.
Which is kind of look, I have a friend who used to say shit like that all the time. He's still alive and he's older than me. And I'm like, why do people have that kind of premonition?
I know.
I don't,
Because Deborah, our host, is like, I'm sorry, what?
I know.
And she asks Terrence, and she goes, why did she think that? And Terrence corrects her. She goes, no, not think. Knew. She knew.
I mean, you would think then that Tamika would be like, I don't know, would be more involved with more dangerous people or would be doing some really dangerous job or something. Like, it was just some kind of premonition that she had. Oh, my God.
So,
and by the way, this, like, all of this happens to her, like, just a couple months shy of her 25th birthday.
God.
I know.
So, like, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. There's real no movement on the case at all.
But now we learned something pretty cool. The cops take that ring of keys to a locksmith.
Well, wait a second.
Okay.
This is,
Whoa.
but isn't this
I thought
scary?
we were going to learn about locksmithing.
Well, because we have this full set of keys, right? We have no idea, like, what the keys are for. But the key maker...
I wasn't expecting that kind of reaction
The
out of
key
you.
maker put a code on the keys, and we can track them down. And I'm like, that's kind of weird and unsettling that the key maker can tell all this information about your key.
Because we meet the actual guy who made these actual keys, and it was random. They walked into, like, the local locksmith, and that guy was like, oh, I can tell by the code on these keys that I made these keys.
AA14.
Yeah, and I can tell you exactly what building they go to. And I don't know. It makes, we don't get any context, but it makes some kind of sense to me that, like, keys really are power. Like, you wouldn't want me with a copy of your key running, like, making 100 copies and running around handing it to people out. Like, I guess it's good to be able to at least track the keys back to the person who made them.
Yeah. But it is weird that he's like, oh, I have all of this information. But what's even weirder...
It probably also makes more sense, like, in the 1800s or something. Like,
I guess so.
You know what I mean?
I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And also, I guess they're the cops being like, we're investigating this case. Like, if I walked in and was like, can you tell me about AA14? He'd be like, who the fuck are you?
Exactly. But it means something to
hope.
him. He knows about the code for keys.
Right. But the keys match these Fremont school apartments, which are close to the Barksdale apartments, which is where her car was found. So the cops just, like, go door to door trying the keys.
Yeah.
Finally, the key opens a door to a storage room, but it's a weird nothing burger because...
As it turns out, when somebody moves out in those apartments, they just swap locks from an apartment that's empty or another room, and they just swap the locks between the two rooms, and they keep no record of it.
They're just moving the locks around.
And not keeping a record of anything,
right.
Unlike the keymaker guy.
Who knows everything.
Who has a record. So they're just like, I don't know. I don't know where that lock is now. Like, there's no help at all.
And truly, like, I guess I'm not that mad about that because it is kind of like, we're not used to, like, a key being a major clue. This is the first time I feel like in 8 years, a key's been, like, a clue in a murder investigation.
It does feel like a murder mystery dinner thing.
Yeah.
Where someone's like, where's this key? I found this key on the floor. And that starts the murder mystery dinner. Like, where's the key? And then someone has like a matching key, and whoever has the matching key in her purse did it.
You should run a dinner theater.
Right?
You'd be great at that.
Would I?
Yeah, I mean, you got great ideas. You're 1 for 1 so far.
It's all about the key.
Totally.
That's all I can do. So the cops are asking around because they want to know if Tamika was ever seen near this building or if she has any connection to this building at all.
Turns out she was there all the time.
She was there to hang out with some guy named Chris. And I'm like, who the hell is Chris?
I know.
BFF Zelda is like, good question, girl.
Yeah.
Because BFF Zelda met Chris once and immediately hated him, got bad vibes right away.
And not only that, the one time Zelda met him, it was the last time she ever saw Tamika.
And Chris was an asshole, and Chris is an asshole, and a rapist and a pedophile.
Yeah.
So Chris Hampton, his name is Chris Hampton. He sucks. He tries to be a bank robber.
Yeah.
He thought it was smart calling the FBI, being like, "Excuse me, stop putting my name in the paper. I did not rob that bank." Meanwhile, he absolutely did rob that bank. And so,
you know what I definitely didn't do? I definitely didn't rob that bank.
And they're like, "Girl, we're like already on our way to arrest you. Like, we know you did
it." Stay right there. We're gonna come talk to you in person.
He is just the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Travel down the road back again.
Girl, Miracle made us back. These are those self-cleaning sheets that are like also self-cooling that really help you get that good night's sleep.
Yeah, so these sheets, everyone, are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.9% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresher 3 times longer than other sheets. We're talking about no gross odors, and it's so good for your skin, too.
I gotta tell you, the silver-infused fabrics they're using are inspired by NASA, fam. Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating, and they're designed to keep you at your perfect temperature all night long. So this is the thing, like, you used to get really hot. Sometimes, especially in the winter, if you've got a lot of covers on top of you, like, you're just roasting under there.
Yeah.
But these sheets really, like, thermoregulate, like they say. They keep you nice and cool.
Yeah, and it's no matter the weather. So in the summer, too, you can struggle with that. But I also, like, need to be under covers or I can't sleep.
Totally.
So this is really solving all my problems.
They're just, like, also luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. So, like, you could get those, like, million thread count ones for $9,000, or you get Miracle Made for exact same look and feel.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to a fancy 5-star hotel to be in a hotel bed. You can just have the hotel bed at home. Thanks to Miracle Made.
So fam, go to trymiracle.com/TCO to try Miracle Made sheets today.
And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%.
And if you use our promo code TCO at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%.
I love it.
I know.
Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund.
So fam, upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made.
Go to trymiracle.com/TCO and use the code TCO to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off.
Again, that's trymiracle.com/TCO to treat yourself.
Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode and my sleep.
Saying free 3-piece is not easy.
Yeah, but we both did it in one try. So
you did it. One take wonders
egg on
over
someone
here.
else's face. So it's December 2004, and Chris is a person of interest. Now, according to Zelda, the BFF, she was like, I think maybe they were dating. According to Chris, sitting in his police interview, he describes Tamika as, quote, one of the girls he was messing with. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, and like he also has a pregnant girlfriend. Like this guy, he's the most disgusting person we've talked about in a while.
And Tamika was apparently very cool with that, according to Chris. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I just don't believe a word this
and
guy
I also
says.
don't feel like Chris and Tamika knew each other very long. I get the sense they knew each other for like a week.
Or something. Yeah, because BFF Zelda didn't know.
Right. Like, I don't think Tamika had all the details on this guy because she would not have been hanging out with him if she did.
No.
You
so
know?
a few weeks after this interview, Chris Hampton again writes another letter to the police. Remember he said to the FBI, I didn't rob that bank. And they're like, yes, you 100% did.
Yeah.
He does on Christmas Eve.
This is wild.
He writes a letter to the FBI agent on the case. And it's a pretty long letter considering the fact that it exists at all is weird.
Well, good point, GP.
He's like, hey, just so you know.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
Merry
by the
Christmas,
happy
happy holidays. Just wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
I want to put this in writing. I just learned, like today.
Yeah.
I went to my apartment and found that somebody had come into my apartment and poured beer on my floor, smeared mayo, ketchup, hot sauce, flour, and all kinds of other stuff all over my bedroom floor.
And in this letter, he talked about he had rented a carpet cleaner. And instantly, I knew, why is this guy telling us he rented a carpet cleaner? He's telling us this because he thinks we know something that we don't know.
Someone came into my apartment, and I noticed that because the door was cracked a little bit.
Yep.
You know, they call me Columbo around the apartments. Right. Tamika had given me a comforter that she was letting me use. That comforter is now no longer in my apartment. I think this mystery person definitely
Must
took
have
it.
taken it. Yeah.
You know what they also did? And, you know, you don't have to thank me for doing your job for you. Here's what they also did, coppers. They poured beer on my floor and smeared mayo, ketchup, hot sauce, flour, and all kinds of other stuff all over my bedroom floor. And so because of that, I had to get all of my carpets cleaned. And I'm just telling you, because it's the holiday season and goodwill towards men. And but why he's actually doing this is because he thinks the cops know something that they actually don't know.
But the cop says to us, as soon as he mentions the carpet cleaner, it cuts right to the cop. He's like, what a fucking moron.
Well, I took a screenshot of what he said about the carpet cleaning. I rented a carpet cleaner from blah, blah, blah in Park Hills. If you want to go check the date, they probably still have a record of it. If so, I saw Tamika last the day before I rented the cleaner. I thought it was Tamika that did that to my room, but then I thought she didn't have any reason to do that. But the comforter is definitely gone.
I mean, it's so insane. The cop is saying, like, he thinks we have information on him and we don't, but now we do.
But he's also not. I'm like, are you telling them because you want help trying to figure out who did this?
Right.
Because I'm not hearing that in this letter, you fucking idiot.
Because if you see some of the things that got smeared on his floor, hot sauce, ketchup, the cops are saying, like, wait, you have a big red smear on your floor that you rented a carpet cleaner to get rid of?
The day after Tamika was last seen. And
at
also,
your apartment?
And also, speaking of that apartment, when the cops go to his apartment, he's since moved out because he moved out like right after Tamika went missing.
Exactly.
So they go and they're like, yeah, let's check out this ketchup stain.
My favorite thing is that he doesn't live there anymore, but the lady who does live there is like, come right on in.
Come on in.
Could you explain this bleach stain on my carpet? That'd be great.
Because there's this enormous bleach stain.
Yeah.
And to one of our talking heads, it's just like, that's Latin for I'm covering something up. He says that for every case. That's Latin for I'm covering something up. It's a good line.
It's a good line.
He uses it a lot. It's evergreen.
2020 uses it like in every bump, going into and out of every commercial the whole time.
It's the trailer before, during, and after. It's right in the middle. They do that midway trailer where it's like, here's what we did, here's what we're doing. It's in everything.
Yeah.
It's a good line.
It's a good line.
He uses it a lot.
I'm Latin for it's Latin for I'm covering something up.
So they pull up the carpet right where the bleach stain is.
There's blood everywhere.
There's blood everywhere. It's in the carpet. It's in the closet.
So like this idiot cleaned the carpet of of the blood, but didn't lift the car, like didn't realize the blood was going to soak through onto the floor.
Idiot. But there's blood not just under the carpet.
Yeah.
Once we pulled the carpet up, there was large amounts of blood. It soaked through the carpet and was just on the floor, and a lot in the closet.
There's blood everywhere, and Tamika's in a closet.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, yes. I mean, there might be something to Elaine Painter.
Because what happens is, Elaine, the day they found all this, nobody know. Like, the cops are at this piece of shit's apartment. They find this stuff. They're like, oh my God, we got to get back to the station and figure this out.
Yeah.
The minute they get in, ring, ring, Elaine's like, you found the closet, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like, literally, and nobody should have known that. That was not public. The minutes after they find all of this blood in the closet, like, ring, ring, there's Elaine.
They bring Elaine to the crime scene, and she's like, as soon as I walked in and I saw the closet, I knew that that's where she died.
Right.
Yeah.
She's not even being I told you so about it. She's just here to help.
I know.
But
she
she's
prays
like,
a lot.
She's like, how was that closet?
I know.
I was right. I was fucking right.
I know. So they haul this Hampton guy in for another interview, and he's just the fucking worst.
Yeah.
It's always so awful watching these people in these interviews, just denying the obvious, because they're saying to him, we know you killed her. We got her. Now, they're lying to him. They don't actually know this for certain yet, because the DNA hasn't come back, and they admit it to us.
Oh, yeah.
But they're saying to him, we got her blood all over your room. It's everywhere. We know you killed her. We just need to know what you did with the body.
And the killer's like, I don't believe you. And the cops are like, well, you don't have to believe in it.
Yeah.
That's the truth, and that's what we know.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, didn't you get my letter? It's ketchup.
I know.
Where's the holiday cheer, fellas?
Watching these videos, the videos where they're just denying the obvious, it just makes me cry. I don't know how these cops stay calm.
Right. And the cops they do admit that they're lying, which is just, I want to slow down on it. We fucking hate Chris. We hate this guy. But remember, the cops can and will lie to you.
The cops can and will lie to you.
When at any opportunity, they will lie to you. Because they're saying, they actually don't know it's Tamika's blood. But they're saying it is.
Right. And
they
it
can lie.
ends up being her blood. Like, they do get the DNA back pretty quickly, but they haul him in before the DNA results come back.
Well, they got the letter, and they're like, oh,
right.
God.
And what they want is the body. They want to make him believe that they know that she's dead. Maybe we can make a deal with you. We can just go easier on you if you just tell us where she is.
Yeah. And at this case, I'm like, all right, I hate this guy. All the evidence is pointing to that he did it. But remember, everyone, tell your kids the cops can and will lie to you.
Yeah. Well, they can't get him on this, but they do get him on a parole violation for the bank robbery that he says he didn't do. That he did.
That other letter?
Yeah.
What is with the letters?
I know.
A letter writing campaign.
He's an idiot. I mean, honestly, rule number one of being a criminal is don't put anything in writing. Even I know that.
And don't go back to the scene of the crime.
Oh, my God.
Even in letter form.
They take him to jail, and now we're going to watch the segment on America's Most Wanted.
So Tamika's been missing for 10 months, and that's when her segment airs.
Now, the way America's Most Wanted does this, I did not know this.
I didn't know this either.
The way they do this is they put the episode out, and in real time, they've got investigators at a call center in D.C.
It's an interactive show.
Literally. You can call in. If you have a real tip, you can speak to the actual investigator working the case who's there on camera.
And so this is what's happening the night of Tamika's episode. We see it. It's like a telethon, only like actual like work and justice can be done, maybe?
They're not actors. Like, you see the people at this call center. They are all trained professionals who are there to take tips as they come in.
Right. So here's what happens the night of Tamika's episode.
Yeah.
A, quote, juvenile girl calls. She's 15. She's 15. She says
she went over to his residence close to the crime scene time and had been with him that evening.
Said they go back into his bedroom. She said that he spilled Kool-Aid in the floor.
I got an investigator here locally in Spartanburg to meet that individual that night.
She knows exactly where that stain is.
That kind of helps seal up some information in reference to the case.
she was there the night of the murder. The killer said all of the red stuff on his bedroom floor was from both Kool-Aid and or ketchup. They bring her in for questioning. We don't see her face or hear her voice because she's underage.
But we do see the video. They blurred her face and changed her voice, but we see it and it's like she's fucking 15 years old.
And like no one's talking about the fact that there's a 15-year-old in his bedroom.
I know.
Like we're not going to talk about the fact that he raped her.
I know.
She's 15. Even if she said yes in the moment, I don't care. It's not consensual. He's a rapist.
100%.
And a pedophile.
And like we're going to learn, he brought her into his bedroom and has sex with her with Tamika's body in the closet.
He's a fucking creep.
2 feet away.
Yeah. So Tiffany, the journalist, is here to just like sort of remind everyone how fucking frustrating it is for her to be a black woman in journalism when all of the white women are getting all the publicity.
Now, when she's saying that, they cut to like an image of all of the white women who went missing around the same time as Tamika. These are all household names. Maura Murray, Lacey Peterson, Natalie Holloway, Chandra Levy, Lori Hacking. We've covered many of these multiple times. You can put any of those names into Apple Podcasts. You'll get 15 podcast episodes about them. Like, it is absolutely true the outsized attention these cases got compared to Tamika or any other person of color.
And she's saying, like, she was in those newsrooms and she's, like, trying to do her job and seeing all these white girls. Like, imagine being in that newsroom being like, what about Tamika?
Yes.
And so Aunt Rebecca says,
I was like, listen, you guys are ignoring Black women at their expense. In this country, we have 40% of missing persons cases are persons of color. Why is it when you turn on your television, you only see white faces?
why are we only seeing white faces on TV?
Yeah.
Now, Rebecca says this to our host, Deborah, who's Black.
Yes.
And Deborah says, yeah, I know, because Deborah reported on the Natalie Holloway case.
And didn't know, which would happen at the same time as Tamika, and she did not know about Tamika.
And to be clear, it's not that these cases are not important. No one is saying that Natalie Holloway doesn't matter.
100%.
The point is that they're all important.
Yes.
And it's so obvious that the white girls get all the attention and the non-white girls just don't.
Which is what I was saying before. It's why Tiffany being a producer on America's Most Wanted, it's why this episode is called She Looked Like Me. But it's why it's important that people who are not white are being elevated to positions of power in all industries.
Because it's also not fair for Deborah, the host, who's just doing her job covering Natalie Holloway, and saying that, like, I hadn't heard of Tamika Huston, and that's a problem. But it's also not her job to just find every, like, that's why the Tiffany's of the world. And that's why all of these stories need to be amplified all over the world, because you can't, not one person can do all the work.
No, but like, you think about Aunt Rebecca, who was running around. She's got a background in PR. Probably, I'm assuming 2020 got a fax. You know what I mean?
I'm sure they did.
But like, it just, like everything else, it just gets filed away because there wasn't a Tiffany working at 2020 at the time who was going to be like, hey, we need to be telling these stories about missing people other than these missing white women.
Or an Erica Alexander to make a podcast about it in the year 2020, because she says it's not just about being found, it's about not being forgotten.
Yeah.
And so we get back to the killer. He's in prison for violating his parole for the bank robbery. And I guess we're not going to talk about the sexual assault of the 15-year-old. No charges about that.
I know.
But his ex-girlfriend, now all the people in his life are coming to get the killer.
Yeah, because remember, the reason he was like, quote, couldn't be with Tamika was because he had a pregnant girlfriend. The pregnant girlfriend calls the cops and was like, I got all of his...
Ex-girlfriend.
Now ex-girlfriend. She's like, I got all of his shit. You can have whatever you want of it.
Christopher Hampton's ex-girlfriend turned in his wallet.
Lieutenant Lamb was going through it and found a drop of blood on a photograph in the wallet.
There was some smudge marks that looked like blood and a partial print. We do the testing on it as Tamika's blood.
They test all this blood, and it's Tamika's blood. It's not shocking, but it's fucking infuriating. Her blood is all over his apartment.
Yes.
And so it's like, what did he do to her? And why did he do this? What happened?
Why? I know.
So Trey Gowdy is the prosecutor, and it's been 15 months since Tamika has gone missing, and he's ready to charge the son of a bitch.
Thank God.
Travel down the road back again.
Girl, Masterclass is back. Before we say anything else, Masterclass is a great gift. If you know somebody who likes to learn, who likes to like expand their horizons or get better at that one thing that they like to do, like me and the writing and whatever, Masterclass is what it's all about.
Totally. So with Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best.
Yes.
And Masterclass is the only streaming platform where you can learn and grow with over 200 of the world's best.
Yeah, this is all about Masterclasses with like people at the top of their fields, right? So like my writing classes were with David Sedaris and Aaron Sorkin. You can do like the Anna Wintour fashion stuff. You can do the RuPaul stuff. Like, I mean, any industry, people at the top of their class, right? And for just $10 a month, an annual membership with Masterclass gets you unlimited access to every instructor.
That's the thing, because I used to think that you had to pick and choose and like pay by course or pay by instructor.
You would think.
But with this, it's like $10 a month annual membership, and you're just learning until you can't even see straight anymore.
Nothing. And like you can like take a class in something you never even knew you were interested in. Like,
or like you're a fan of the person, and then you're learning, and then you might find a new interest.
You can also learn anywhere, fam. You can watch the Masterclass classes on your phone, your computer, your smart TV, or even in audio mode if you want to just like take it on the plane or whatever.
Yeah, that's a fancy word for podcasting.
Right, totally.
You can listen to the podcast
Welcome
version.
to our audio mode program. So fam, right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/TCO.
That's 15% off at masterclass.com/TCO.
Masterclass.com/TCO. Go better yourself.
Yeah, learn from the best. Or give it as a gift.
Give it as a gift.
Right?
Tis
Great
the season.
idea.
Right. You're full of them.
Full of them.
So it's August 12th, 2006, and this Hampton guy, the killer, he's released from jail for his parole violation, and the cops are there to pick him up. And they're like buttering him up. He's nervous. They're like, why are the cops here? They're like, we're just going to drive you home, friend. They take him out for cheeseburgers, and the cops are it's like very important to them that they get a bottle of ketchup.
It's like, I can't believe this works. It's all
the theater of it all. Yeah,
because
but it does work.
They want the bottle of ketchup to be on the table so they can make the like, whoops, don't spill the ketchup again joke.
Yeah.
They make that stupid joke, and for whatever reason, I don't know why. Maybe we're missing a lot more of the story. I don't know. One of the cops is like, oh, watch the ketchup. Remember, you have bad luck spilling ketchup. Literally.
And he kind of laughed about it or snickered about it. And I think that was kind of the turning point for him. He stood up and he said, let's go. And I said, where do you want to go? And originally I thought he meant to jail. But he said, I'll take you to where she's at.
Let's go. I'll take you to Tamika.
You know, I was thinking a lot about this, and I think it just comes down to some combination of a crisis of conscience, and I'm never going to get away with this anyway.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, why drag myself through this? You know what I mean?
And
like,
he doesn't give a shit
and he
about
doesn't
anybody
care.
or anything.
Yeah.
So, like, it's a little easier, I think, to be like, you know, fuck it.
Because
Thanks for the burgers.
He's
Let's
like,
go.
I'm never going to get away with this. I'm just going to pretend that I didn't do this forever. Like, fuck that. Let's go.
And, like, it's just, at least we have this.
You know what?
I'm not
Like,
giving him any credit for anything, but at
me
least we
either,
have this.
but like I would like to think, and I'm sure that it is true, that Tamika was such an exceptional person that maybe somewhere in the recesses of his mind, he was like, he's seeing her face and is like, she doesn't deserve what I did to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not because he's a good person, but because she was a good person.
He's probably going to use it and be like, well, I told you about Tamika. Can you knock a couple decades off?
Right.
No,
Yeah.
bitch.
No,
so he takes them to a location outside of their jurisdiction. It's a few towns away. And he goes like several hundred yards into the woods. And he shows them that he buried Tamika. And he covered this like air quotes grave with branches. And he had placed the branches like a cross. And the cops were like, was he trying to be respectful?
We see this, and it's pretty obvious to me. Like, if you're a hiker walking through the woods and you came upon that scene, we see pictures of it. If it were me and I were in the woods and I saw that, I would call the cops.
Yeah, because
I would be like, I don't know what's going on here, but something is going on here.
It's not like one of those like roadside memorials that you see. It's not.
Yeah.
It's very much like a grave, like someone or something is
like
buried
clearly
there.
marking a grave is what it seems like.
And it could be like a beloved family pet, but there was a burial that, like, that's why I said
For
somebody
sure.
or something. Like, you don't know what it is.
Yeah. So, like, this is insane, right? Because the cops go out there and they get the remains, they collect the remains, they tell the family where the location of the burial was. The family goes out there.
And I'm standing there and my eyes are full of tears. And I remember looking down because I felt like I was stepping on something. And I reached down and picked it up. And it was actually one of her bones.
The cops did not completely clean the area.
I mean, they are absolutely fucking beside themselves.
It is a major fuck
I
up.
had to go back. I was like, wait.
It's unbelievable.
It shows you, I'm sorry, like these cops come across in this episode like they care until you get to a moment like this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, they can't have cared as much as we wanted them to.
And I'm sure they'd say, well, that was the crime scene people's job. Those technicians, whatever. I don't care. You don't invite for whatever. You don't tell a family you can go pay your respects to this location without making fucking damn sure.
Yes.
And also, how about for the autopsy? And also, how about for the respect of Tamika? There are a million reasons why you should have looked over that spot no less, and I'm not even kidding, like 20 times.
Yeah.
And then have someone else do it 20 times, and then have someone else do it just to make extra sure.
It's not like they were looking for extra they
stepped.
It's unavoidable. They walked right into it.
And it's just, it's absolutely horrifying, and it's a major fuck up for the police. That the family had to go through that on top of everything else is horrifying.
We've never seen anything like that.
So here's what the killer says happened. He and Tamika are at his apartment. They have a fight about money.
Yeah.
Like, okay, money for what? What
and
is he
he's saying his argument is that she was upset that he was trying to save money for his kid.
Right.
Rather than giving her money.
And then all of Tamika's family and friends are like, that's not her. She's not like that. She's super generous. And if, like, what are you talking about?
And, like, why would, like, she doesn't need money from you. She doesn't need your money, you fucking piece of shit.
And you should be taking care of your kid. So Tamika also wouldn't be like, no, don't take care of your kid.
Right.
Like, what?
And, like, meanwhile, he's ironing a shirt while they're having this argument. And he says,
"God," she says, "You always talk about that baby. You making the money. You give me some money now." She yap. She stood up, and I'm saying she wouldn't argue. She was like, yap. So I just,
what happened?
I just tell her it happened to turn on.
She got in his face and he just couldn't take it anymore and he snapped and he turns around and he hits her with the iron.
Because she's like demanding money from him. And he's like, no, I have to pay a parking ticket, of course. I have to save up for the baby. Like, I don't have any money to spare.
Yeah.
And she's like insisting that he gives her money.
Right.
And he's saying, he's just so fucking rude. He just keeps telling the cops, like, she just yap. Like, on the closed captions, it says yap like 8 times. Like, this fucking asshole.
Well, he says that she then falls to the ground and he panics and runs. Like, thinking she's still alive. He runs and then comes back later, he says, expecting that she would have gotten up and left. Like, this is a completely made up story.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
According to him, he comes home and Tamika is still there on the floor and he panics.
He realizes now that she's dead. Once again, I don't believe a word of this.
No.
Yeah.
Except the part that he hit her and killed her.
Exactly.
That's like where the truth
He
ends.
beat her to death.
Yeah. So he panics, wraps Tamika in a comforter, puts her in his closet, puts the dresser in front of the closet. This is when the 15-year-old girl shows up. He rapes her. They say they have sex, but he rapes her.
Tamika's in the closet.
In the closet. And after the assault on the 15-year-old, he takes Tamika to the woods, digs the grave, and buries her. My question is always, if you're going to bring the cops to where she is, just be honest about what you did.
Yes.
Unless he's trying to use it for leverage for himself. Like, I took you to the body, can you knock a few years off? Because why not just be honest?
He's just so insane that he can't even come to terms with his own monstrousness.
It's the half-truth that always, like, I'd love to talk to, like, an expert on this psychologically to be like, no, this is why they're not. It's crazy.
Yeah, like, he can't even say out loud the horrible thing that he did.
Well,
it's like what it comes down to, you know?
He did it. I mean, that's it. But months later, now, because remember, it had been like over 10 months since she'd been missing.
Right.
So months after the fact, he goes back to the gravesite, removes, I'm sorry, everyone.
Months later, he returns to that gravesite, removes some bones, as well as Tamika's skull, and takes that and disposes of it at another location.
Puts those other remains in a different location.
In a river.
And so Elaine apparently had this exact vision the entire time.
But I was like, Elaine, you said in the beginning you're not going to find her anywhere near water. So, like, I don't know.
Well, I guess Elaine would say, well, he moved after the fact. Like, her vision was what happened that day.
Oh, I guess. I don't know why you believe in Elaine more than I do.
I'm just saying what she told. I got my Columbo trench coat on, not my Columbo hat, my Columbo trench coat.
Totally.
And just thinking if that's what she saw that day. I mean, she did call the cops that minute, almost to the minute when they found her, saying, I was right about the closet.
No, I get it. I'm here for a psychic.
Because there's another connection as well.
Yeah.
So Elaine has become friends with Tamika's family.
Yes.
And she calls Aunt Rebecca, who is pregnant with twin boys. Nobody knew that Rebecca was pregnant. Only Rebecca, her husband, and their doctor.
Yeah.
Like, it was very early because Rebecca had miscarriages in the past. So she wasn't saying anything. She was keeping it super private. Now, Elaine calls Rebecca and she's like, hey, I have to tell you, I keep seeing visions of Tamika. And in these visions, she's holding these 2 blue bundles. I don't know what it means. Do you know what it means? And Rebecca's like, yeah, she's talking about my twin boys that nobody on earth knows about.
Yeah.
We knew that they were boys and we just didn't tell anyone because we were scared. I don't know.
We haven't told anybody that we're pregnant yet, even.
So
I know. We need to get Elaine on more cases then. Fine. I'm in for Elaine, but we got to get her solving more crimes.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's 2006. The killer goes on trial. It's 2 years after Tamika was murdered.
It felt like it was going to be, a really tough couple of weeks in Spartanburg. But on the first day of trial, he ends up pleading guilty. I was shocked.
Are you guilty of the crime of murder? Yes, sir.
I don't know why he pled guilty. He wound up getting the exact same sentence that he would have gotten had he gone to trial and lost.
He surprises everybody by pleading guilty. Nobody's expecting that. Like, it seems like he doesn't want to go through a trial. He just wants to get it over with.
And I'm sure Tamika's family is, like, in some way kind of thrilled. I mean, he's in prison for life. He goes away forever.
We know who did it. There's no mystery here.
They don't have to go through the trauma of a trial. Like, okay. But, like, why did he do... I don't believe the story about the money. Why did he do this?
And that's what Aunt Rebecca keeps saying. That's what everyone keeps saying, is that the more details they got, the more they're like, this was just so fucking senseless. Like, this just... And we say... I feel like we're saying this more and more and more lately. Like, there's no answer. There's no reason. It's totally senseless.
And nobody knew who he was.
Yeah.
Like, the best...
He was new. He was new in her life.
Like, best friend Zelda just met him and hated him.
Yeah.
And couldn't see what Tamika saw in him. And then the next day, she was killed. And, like, Aunt Rebecca didn't know about him. It's like... What was there? Did they just meet? I don't understand.
He just seems very new, and it seems like something happened. They got into some kind of fight.
And she probably said, I fucking hate you, you dirtbag. I know that you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he killed her.
I'd love to know if he has other history of violence. You know what I mean?
It's like
Except that we don't fucking care about this guy.
After 8 years, I'm still wondering why. Why did the woman get killed? Because she fucking said no, because men are going to men. Like, what the fuck? So, kind of ends with Eric Alexander, who is the actress who made the podcast.
You said that this case touched you like no other had. Why?
Because I know how much black girls don't matter. And I want to always be a reflection of how much value that they had to me.
I mean, and she's so emotional when she says that, Yeah. And like, I know that is real. It just really hit me the way that she said it.
Yeah.
Because she's a black woman with power. You know what I mean? Like, she's a famous actress. She's a black woman with power saying black girls don't matter.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. That is so true, you know? And I cannot say enough. We just need more Tiffany's out there. Now, of course, we need more fucking white people to be campaigning for these stories to be told. Of course. But we need more Tiffany's too.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, for Deborah, our host, to be covering Natalie Holloway and not know about Tamika's case, like, that's where the unfairness comes, where it's like, it can't be the burden on them either, on these black women to tell these black stories. So but this case actually led to the start of the Black and Missing Foundation. It's BAMFI, BAMFI.org. You should donate. I did. So check that out if you want to. But like, that's just a little bit of hope that came out of this case.
Yeah, on the 20th anniversary of Tamika's murder, we see Aunt Becca and best friend Zelda getting together, and that was really the moment where I was like, oh my God, this was 20 years ago.
And they hadn't seen each other since.
I know.
And so they're like looking at photos and hugging, and it ends with footage of Tamika singing at Aunt Rebecca's wedding.
Yeah.
And, like her sister's thinking about what could have been. And also like a plug for Finding Tamika. You can listen to Finding Tamika wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, good one, GP.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, girl, we did The Girl That Looks Like Me from 2020. It was real. This was such a good one.
It was, really good. Very highly recorded the minute it came out. So, dear listeners who were in my DMs, thank you for sending it to me.
Fam, if you want more GP and me, and who could blame you, head on over to the Patreon. Don't forget, if you want that calendar, you've seen it every year. 'Tis the season. If you sign up at the Hero Bell tier or you upgrade, you'll get it there. But if you just join us at the 5, you're going to get over 450 full ad-free bonus episodes. We put all of the interviews we've been doing with subjects of the documentary there as well.
Yeah.
So much stuff over there in the Pates.
Drag bingo, so much fun.
Drag
it's a party.
bingo.
The whole thing is a party.
Yeah. What do we do next, girl?
Oh, God. Worst Ex Ever, that series, Worst Ex Ever. The second episode, it's called Betrayed by the Badge. The fucking double meaning of Betrayed by the Badge. I can't.
Oh my God, really?
It is insane. The story is crazy.
All right, well, fam, stay tuned for the trailer for that, and we love you.
We love you. Stay safe out there, everyone.
Stay safe.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Emotions, especially with exes, bring out the absolute worst in people.
This is 911. They pulled me over.
I've seen instances where exes kill each other.
Ma'am? Yes. What incident happened?
But as far as this elaborate plot, it was just gut-wrenching.
I was lost.
Horrible. Plain and simple.